Ijin goes inside to change his clothes, but even after a while, he doesn't come out. Dayun knocks at the door, but there's no response. She goes inside and sees that he's sleeping soundly. The grandpa says that they should let him get some well-deserved rest, and they do so. The next day, Ijin has some noodles with Dusik, who asks if he's better, as he heard of the fever he got. Ijin says that it was just a small fever, but at how high it was, it can't be called small, Dusik notes. He says that he shouldn't push himself, as he's still a kid. Ijin says that he isn't, but the fever wasn't to the point where he was conscious but couldn't move. Dusik doesn't know what to make of this, and just continues eating. While leaving, his subordinate says that the politician from before is still waiting to make a move. He notes that the politician is still the same as ever. His children can be considered criminals, and he got kicked out of most political circles, but still wants revenge? Dusik notes that they still have their wealth, and even though the evidence against them was crystal clear, it was covered up. He also notes that since they are working with SW, he wouldn't dare do anything rash. At their house, the politician's family begins talking. The father says that they should go to America and not worry about anything. They should relax and adjust to that lifestyle. Kim says that they will, but Heejin is having none of it. She thinks that it's all because of Dayun and her brother. The father says that they just need to stay there for a few years, and with that, he excuses them. They leave, and his wife asks if he's just going to leave the situation like this. He says that he already tried, but since it's come to this, the higher-ups are also being careful. The wife screams at him, "Is he really just going to give up? The lives of their children were ruined." The father speaks. Giving up? Up until now, he has never given up on something he wanted. Later that day, Ijin speaks with Dayun over the phone. Ijin wants to go to the supermarket with her, but she says that's fine, as she's only buying stuff for tonight's dinner and the grandpa's lunch. She also asks if he wants to eat anything, but he says that he's fine with anything. With that, Ijin closes the call with a smile. Suddenly, a hidden number calls. Ijin picks up, and the caller says that he's the politician, Kim In-bae. This makes Ijin think of all the things that happened. In-bae says that they had a deal, right? So why did he break it? Ijin notes that he was the one who broke it, but In-bae says that he did what he requested. He sent his kids abroad, so in exchange, he should have deleted the dirt he had on him. Ijin says that his children returning wasn't part of the deal, and Haejin also tried to harass his sister again. In-bae sighs and smiles, saying that he's probably so fearless because of his age, so he'll get straight to the point. The damage he caused is considerable. The loss of reputation is something a student like him can't ever imagine, and he also gave permanent scars to his children. Did he think that he could live peacefully after all this? He will now teach him that his decisions have consequences, and that the world isn't so easy. That night, Dusik goes out to have a smoke, but stops Ijin's grandpa and quickly hides it. The grandpa greets him and says that if he finished the food they gave him, he can always ask for more, as they eat the same thing every day. With that, he leaves, and from behind Dusik comes a bike that is going at high speeds. He notices that someone on the bike is holding a metal pipe and going straight for the grandpa. Dusik gets in front and punches them off the bike before they can do anything. He wonders who these guys are and why they were going after the grandpa. His phone suddenly rings, and the subordinate says that something bad has happened. In-bae is not after them but after Ijin and his family. Dusik's expression grows sour. While walking home, Ijin thinks of the words In-bae told him. Dusik suddenly calls him and asks if anything has happened to him yet. Ijin looks back and spots a gang with motorcycles and bats behind him. He says that something is happening right now. Dusik says he'll call him again later and closes the call. Dusik orders Seok to put 3 of their guys on the high schooler's house. He asks if In-bae would go that far, but Dusik says he definitely will, as he protected the grandpa from an attack earlier. With that, Seok runs to tell the men. Dusik picks up his phone and calls In-bae. He asks what this sudden call is about, but Dusik gets straight to the point. What is he planning? In-bae tries to feign ignorance, but Dusik is having none of it, and calls him out. In-bae says that he can't do anything to him, so he's just taking care of the rest. Dusik asks why he's going after Ijin, especially his family, who have nothing to do with this. In-bae notes that due to Ijin, his family separated. Dusik smirks, and says that Ijin wasn't the one who sent the dirt to the press. He was. So they should stop bothering the children and do things properly. Inbei says that he must have forgotten what kind of person he is. Dusik says that he doesn't think about those things, causing Inbei to scream at him. Seok comes back and reports that he told the men to stand by at Ijin's house. Dusik orders him to gather some men as quickly as he can. Seok says that if he goes after Inbei, he won't be safe. Dusik says that he owes a debt to a guy who's much younger than him. Should he pay that debt back as an adult? Seok smiles and agrees. Ijin fights the goons that were after him and easily takes most of them out. One wonders who this kid is in order to fight like this, but his thoughts get interrupted as Ijin rushes another guy, and with a swift blow to the neck, incapacitates him. The last guy tries to attack Ijin, but with one swift gut kick, he leaves him on the ground with the others. He makes his way home, and when he gets there, he spots a car parked near his house. Inside of it, Dusik's men all lays around, but that's when Ijin smashes the window and grabs one of them. He's ready to fight, but the guy explains that they work for Dusik. Ijin remembers that he saw them previously, and lets go. He asks what they are doing here, and they say that Dusik ordered them to stay around his sister and grandpa. While training, Sukju gets a call from Ijin. He asks what happened, and Ijin wants him to find out where Inbei lives. Now. Sukju asks why he's looking for him all of a sudden, but Ijin doesn't respond. It seems that he's ready to kill. While going to Inbei's residence, Dusik calls Ijin and asks if he has solved the situation. Ijin confirms this, and Dusik also notes that he heard he met his people. He put them there because he recently had some issues with someone, so he's protecting his family just in case. Dusik says that he'll take care of everything, so he shouldn't worry, as he will be sure to finish it for good this time. With that, they close the call. Seok asks if it's okay to lie. This did happen because of Ijin's actions after all. Dusik says that it's not his fault. It all started because of Inbei's stupid kids. Inside his house, a large man informs Inbei that Dusik is coming here to attack. Inbei is surprised that Dusik would leave his territory like that, and the man says that he must have gone crazy. The man adds that Inbei used him before, but to think he would betray him when he gave Dusik a golden opportunity. Inbei asks the man if he's confident in his abilities. The man says that this area is under his control, and while Dusik and his men do have skills, in this area, Noding can top him. He will make sure this place becomes Dusik's untimely grave. His phone suddenly rings, and says that it's probably the men he sent after Ijin. Inbei urges him to respond, as he wants to find out what happened. He does so, and gets some shocking news. He closes the call, and apologizes to Inbei, saying that his men failed to hurt Ijin and his family. The man notes that after taking care of Dusik, he will personally go after Ijin. This makes Inbei think about Dusik's words from back then. The whole area is filled with guards, some even outside the estate. Ijin arrives and assesses the situation from a distance. He dashes to the side, and that's when a few men spot him, thinking that he's a delivery guy or something. Suddenly he parkers the wall and jumps over it. The men stare, shocked. Ijin lands and another group of men spot him. But before they could do anything, Ijin attacks first, taking 2 out instantly. More get out, and Ijin runs towards the house. A guy with a blade tries to defend, but gets knocked out in seconds. Inbei and the man notice the commotion outside, and the man think that it's probably Dusik, so they shouldn't worry. But Inbei notices that it sounds like the noises come from the inside, and that's when a man gets thrown through the door. They stare, shocked, and Inbei spots Ijin, who is now brandishing his iconic murderous aura. In another room, the mother is telling Heejin and Kim that they will go after Ijin too, so they should rest assured. Suddenly, a commotion can be heard outside, and they wonder what it is. Inbei notices that the man who just came in is none other than Ijin. He says that even though his face is covered, he's sure it's him. Ijin hears the men following him and tries to dash towards Inbei, but the man stops him, and they exchange a few blows. He notes that he's a good fighter, even though he's so young. Ijin stares at Inbei and tries to get over the man once again. He punches him, but it doesn't seem to have an effect on him. Ijin continues to hit him until he missed, giving him the opportunity to punch him in the nose. The man tries to retaliate out of rage, but this leaves him open enough for Ijin to grab his arm. And with a twist and kick, he breaks it. Inbei just looks at this spectacle and thinks, Gu Kwang-suk, a man who controlled this district for well over 10 years, is having difficulties with a mere kid? Kwang looks at Ijin and notes that there's not a single ounce of hesitation in his movements. Is he really a high schooler? The other men come into the office and corner Ijin. They advance towards him, but slowly. One by one, Ijin takes them down. Kwang is furious and orders them to kill him this instant. The men try their best, but even with weapons, they hold no candle to Ijin's might and rage. The onslaught of people continues, and now armed with a knife, he cuts through them. The mother comes in tow with Heejin and Kim and orders them to see what's going on. But when they look inside, the only thing they can express is shock, as the walls are filled with blood. They also spot Ijin, who continues to take out the men one by one, with no mercy. Inbei can only watch and thinks that Dusik's words were true. His kids really messed with the wrong person. Dusik arrives and helps put all the men down. He looks at Ijin and notes that his eyes are clearly different. What is he planning? Kwang tries to hit Dusik, but a subordinate comes and strikes him with a metal pipe. Dusik orders his subordinate to give him the weapon, and he does so. He slowly approaches and beats him, continuously. It gets to the point where Dusik seems like a demon. Seok thinks about the conversation they had in the car, where he said that if they mess with people like Inbai, he will surely take revenge. Dusik says that he knows, and that's exactly why he plans to end it, with his own two hands. While watching the beating, Seok notes that Dusik is planning to put all the attention on himself. That's why he is being this brutal. He finishes the beating and pulls out a cigarette. That's when Ijin comes from behind and asks what he's doing. Dusik says that he can stay out of this from now on, but Ijin says that it's his business. Dusik says that it's also his, and he's constantly been having trouble with Inbei. He's been meaning to finish this, and the timing seemed good. Dusik assures him, Inbei will never come after his family or him ever again, so he should stay out of this. Ijin tries to retort, but Dusik says that his actions aren't the only way to protect his family. Him having no issues is another way. Ijin's eyes widen. Dusik pushes him away and says that he shouldn't worry anymore. He turns his attention to Inbei, who immediately asks what he wants. He pleads with Dusik, saying that he can give him property, money, anything he wishes for. Dusik says that he tricked him multiple times. How can he believe him now? Inbei sees him go grab the metal pipe and tries to plead and beg, but it falls on deaf ears. Dusik looms over him, and just when he's about to strike, the SW secretary comes in, much to everyone's surprise. The wife, thinking that he came here to help them, tries to explain what happened, but the secretary ignores her completely and goes directly to Ijin. He says that the president found out about this and promised that something like this will never happen again. He should trust in him and go home. Dusik pushes him, saying that he's a student, so why is he out so late? With that, Ijin leaves. Inbei asks if they are here because of that child, and the secretary says that he's misunderstanding something. He came here, true, but the president sent him, so he's the one who's acting right now. While walking home, Ijin gets a call from Dusik, who tells him what happened after he left. The corruption that Inbei and his family committed, plus the corruption done by his wife's family, has all been sent to the prosecutor's office. He notes that it's that family, especially so since SW is also involved. Ijin thanks him, but Dusik says that there's no need, as SW were the ones who cleaned up everything in the end. Ijin looks down and thinks about what he said. Dusik says they should go eat some noodles sometimes, and with that, they close the call. He approaches his house, and that's when Ijin spots his grandpa. He approaches and asks what he's doing so late, and he says that he hasn't come home yet, and also wanted some fresh air. The grandpa suddenly apologizes, saying that he didn't want to burden him with this but couldn't help it. And he also thought it would have been annoying to call, so he didn't. Ijin stares, and says that he's out so late because he's worried, right? And if he ever wants to ask him something, he should call him comfortably, as he doesn't mind. The grandpa smiles, and they go inside, where Dayun is talking Ijin's ear off because he had his phone closed. The next day, Yuna is watching something about the game the group plays inside Chia's office. She gets a bit annoyed and asks if this is her playroom. Yuna says that it isn't, and Chia asks why she's here then. Yuna says that she just wanted to see her, and she's also sitting here quietly without bothering her. Chia smiles and asks if that's the real reason she came here, and Yuna blushes, confirming this. Chia says that she has to go to the conference room, causing Yuna to quickly say that she'll stay here for a little longer and leave. Chia says that Ijin is also done with work, causing Yuna to jump from her seat and directly to the door. Later, she, Ijin, and Sukju sit in the bus, accompanied by a group of guards. Ijin asks why, and Yuna says that she just wanted to go with him. She also hasn't been in a bus before. Ijin notes that it's hard to protect. Yuna says that she also wants to ride the subway one day, but Ijin says that it's even more dangerous, as there are too many things to consider. Yuna just smiles at him. Sukju spots her smile and can't help but do so as well. At the camp, 005 arrives and notes that there are fewer guards than expected. Did something really happen internally? She continues to walk and thinks about Ijin's words, that she's family to him. A guard tries to stop her, not knowing who she is, but she just punches him and makes her way inside. Mad Dog is surprised at her being here, and that's when she spots 002 sitting opposite to him. He says that it's been a long time since they've seen each other, and 005 asks what he's doing here. He says that's the same reason she is. He heard that the traitor, 001, is still alive and kicking. She asks what they're talking about, and 004 notes that he personally saw 001, even fighting against him. He says that his face was covered, but those movements and characteristics are surely 001. 005 asks Mad Dog what is going on. Didn't 001 die? He says that he did, but 004 retorts instantly. Is he saying that what he saw was wrong? 002 urges him to stop and asks Mad Dog again. Is he positive that 001 died? He confirms this and wonders when and from where 002 found out. 005 thinks that Mad Dog is hiding the truth, and that's when 002 asks her opinion about 001 being alive. She says that if he is, they must kill him, as he is a traitor. 002 smiles and says that her reaction is the same as always. Suddenly the door opens and a man comes in, accompanied by a group of armed men. His name is Randolph, and he says that he just came to say hi. Mad Dog says that there's no need, so he should leave. Randolph says that the camp has this many issues because he keeps the numbered under his wing. He sits down next to 002 and says that he's treating them like he's their mother, so no wonder his children aren't listening. All the numbered there stare. Randolph adds that they are the ones that are doing all the work, but the numbered always take more credit, and furthermore their pay is different too. Why is he treating them like this when they can't even use them properly? Mad Dog demands he stop blabbering. Randolph agrees and gets up, but that's when he pulls out a gun and points it at 002, saying that he will have to clean this place up. He tells the numbered that they shouldn't even think of coming back to the camp, as from this moment on, they are useless. 002 laughs, and in that second, he grabs the gun and puts a bullet in Randolph's head. 002 smirks. Mad Dog is clearly distraught at his actions, and the other men prepare to fire, but 004 pounces on them, and like a wild animal, he eliminates all of them with joy. Outside, two mercenaries have heard the commotion and want to go inside, but they barely enter the area and are shot down by a sniper. 002 asks Mad Dog if he's going to kill the others too, but he denies this, saying that he will somehow take care of it. 002 says farewell to 005 and leaves with 004. At home, Ijin gets a call from 006, who says that 002 probably knows that he is alive. He says that 004 recognized him when they saved 032 and told 002. 006 apologizes, saying that if he wasn't there, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Ijin says that there's no need to worry, as that was something that had to be done. With that, they close the call, and 032 asks what will happen now. 006 notes that the real problems is that 002 is suspicious. 032 wonders if things won't end up like with 005. Even if he is crazy, 002 always followed 001's orders. 006 says that it won't be the same, as 002 is the angriest at 001's betrayal. 032 says that he knows, as 002 killed the camp personnel after hearing about this. 006 adds that he taught 001 many things, and he had a huge influence on 001's combat style. But in the end, the number of 001 was given to the current one. 032 asks if that's related to the fuss that was caused by the people who followed 002 when receiving the numbers. 006 confirms this, saying that they did all that because they couldn't accept 001 as their leader. But 002 didn't cause any sort of trouble, and acknowledged 001 as their leader. But that's exactly why 001 betraying them had a bigger impact on 002 than anyone else. 032 looks at him worrisomely and asks what they should do, as 001 was exposed because of them. 006 says that 001 looks so different, to the point that he doesn't seem like the same person. 032 notes that it's probably because he's living with his family now. But because of him, he got exposed while trying to save him. 006 says that he should stop, as nothing will change if he keeps worrying. What's done is done, and 001 also said that he wanted to do that. That's how much he means to him. It seems that these words reassure 032 a little. While sparring at training, one of the guards socks Ijin a good one, much